Hey, boss. Can I ask you something? What do you think of guys like Ranger Andy? That wasn't what I meant, really. I mean guys who have a world of experience doing what they do, but have to give it up because they're getting old and slow or too injured. Maybe, yeah. I guess you got a point there. Not really, boss. No. After the fire, I knew my sister and I couldn't stay at Hidalgo Ranch anymore. The refugees still wanted me dead. They even put a bounty on me. I remember how scared Rafaela was. I told her if she came with me, we'd see the vaqueros. She used to love the rodeo, especially the trick riders. We figured maybe we could find help in Mexico City. We were young. We didn't know what had happened, really. We didn't understand about the bombs. I don't think it was as hard hit as D.C. or Bakersfield, but it was bad enough. By the time we got there, the city was a radioactive ruin. Still, the city was full of looters, already forming into the beginnings of raider tribes. Crime was bad before the war, but now it was a nightmare. We were living like scavengers, scraping by on what little food we could find, always looking for medicine for my burns. And then, of course, the radiation started to kick in, turning me into this handsome devil you see before you. You're a poet of understatement, boss. But there were moments it was almost worth it. I still remember finding that novelty costume shop. I was just looking around for something I could slice up to wrap my burns when I saw the vaquero outfit hanging on the rack, like it hadn't been touched. I took it, not like anybody else needed it, you know, and wore it back to our camp. Rafaela laughed, for the first time since the bombs had fallen. It was. I started to build up a legend. Sometimes it headed off trouble, but most of the times it just started more. Young punks looking to prove themselves would come looking for me, but my eyes were sharp and my guns were quick. For a while, it seemed like we might even survive there, until Rafaela. She went out to find some food one day. I was sick, so I stayed at our camp. I guess it must have been the beginning of radiation poisoning. Anyway, it was supposed to be safe, but some raiders happened to pass through where she was scavenging. I won't speak of what they did to her. When I found her body, the only way to recognize her was this funny little scar on her knee from when she was a little girl. Terrible doesn't begin to cover it, boss. I led my whole family down. First the ranch, now Rafaela. I was the last Tejada. I guess maybe I went a little crazy then. I took my guns and went back to that market. I didn't have many bullets, but I had enough. After the raiders were dead, I salvaged what I could from the store. I was tired. I just wanted to be alone forever. I left Mexico City behind. I made my way out to the Gulf Coast. Eventually, I found an old Petro Chico refinery nobody had claimed. I stayed there for a little while, and I thought a lot about my life. I thought about the guns I'd lived by and what they'd gotten me. I decided my guns hadn't gotten me anything, and it was time to give it up. I took off the old vaquero outfit and put on a Petro Chico jumpsuit. The name tag said Miguel, so I started using the name myself. Eventually, I made it to Arizona. That's another story, boss.
This is a message to the NCR from the Legion. We are coming for you. Run, and we will catch you. Hide, and we will find you. No matter what you do, you are all going to die. We took one of the women alive.
Drove the raiders off. No casualties. In the meantime, patrol's back. They're late. I hope they got a good excuse. What took...
Hey, any word on Station Charlie? What? What happened? Those were good men at that station. Good men. This whole town was sleeping a lot easier because of them. Now, who knows what we're in for? The Legion? Christ. We'd be better off with raiders. Well, thanks for telling me. I know that knowledge didn't come without risk. Here, take this. Courtesy of the Ranger Veterans Fund. Look out for yourself.
Excuse me, but are you the courier who caused all of that trouble in the tops? Oh, well, we meaning the followers of the apocalypse, that you had been in there. The Lucky 38, I mean. And we were wondering if you could help us. If it's not too much trouble, of course. This is important enough to the followers that we scraped together the caps required for the credit check. And I'm staying at Vault 21, which is pretty cheap, for the strip anyway. Oh, great. The followers of the apocalypse, well, some of us anyway, have been interested in Mr. House's technology, how he stays alive. Of course, no one else is allowed inside the Lucky 38, so no one knows what's going on. Well, except for you. Right. We just want to find out what sort of technology Mr. House has used to stay alive for all these years. It could be of great benefit to the people we try to help, many of whom suffer from hard-to-diagnose illnesses. Really? Oh, I wasn't expecting you to agree so easily. That's great. Here, take this packet sniffer. It'll allow us to intercept data on Mr. House's network. You might have to manually remove the encryption from his data network, but hopefully you won't have too much trouble. Good luck.
Where to, partner?
I can't believe we were allowed inside the Lucky 38. That place has been a legend since before the war. Good call. I mean, if that's what you really want, boss. Hey, as long as you're not asking me to go back to Black Mountain, I'm a happy old man.
Is it time? I'm ready when you are. I'll sit tight. I've got your back. All mine. Eat this. They got what they had coming. Glad we were the ones to deliver it.
You stick out like a sore thumb around here. You sure you're in the right place? Not big on reading name tags, huh? That's okay. My name is long and difficult to pronounce. Ready for it? It's Boyd. Lieutenant Boyd to my friends. Colonel Shu has me handling the policing duties for the base. I've told him he could make my job a whole lot easier if he would just let me shoot anyone who talks back to me. But you know how colonels can be. Yeah, so far this has gone exactly as expected. Poorly. But with the work you've done for NCR already, you might be just what I've been looking for. We captured an honest-to-God Centurion of Caesar's Legion recently. Better believe it. Everybody in Caesar's Legion from Caesar on down will kill themselves before they can be captured. They're so twitchy they'd probably do it if you reached out to hug them. But here's this guy, who's an elite commander in their army, and he just gives himself up, even as his men are slitting their own throats around him. Well, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like a man who's willing to cooperate. Except he hasn't. Only times he speaks up are to insult you. He's a real prick, by the way. And I'm supposed to get information out of this guy. Yes, and one time I thought I saw a tear when I told him his uniform was unflattering. But I think he just got some dust in his eye. I like the way you think. Have I said that yet? Problem is that the NCR frowns on using that sort of tactic. There's some restrictions still in place from President Tandy's administration. But here's my favorite thing about you. You're not in the NCR. Plus, for all this guy knows, you're completely insane. That's a winning combination. I think if you rough him up enough and really put some fear into him, he'll sing like a choir boy. So let's do this. When you're ready, I'll go in and give you a little intro. Then I leave the room and you make him regret the day he was born. We go back and forth a couple times until either he talks or he can't move his jaw anymore. Either way, we've had our entertainment for the day. That's the spirit. Okay, I'll go in and have a word with him. Then I'll call you in. Long time no see, Silus.
Lieutenant, I was just thinking about you.
That's so.
I was just thinking about that pretty neck of yours.
How sweet.
I was thinking about how it would look with a Legion slave collar on it.
I'll pass.
Do you know what I love about our slave collars, Lieutenant?
If you love them, maybe you should try one on.
I love how tightly they fit. I train my men to make sure the slave's flesh bulges a bit around the top and bottom. Know why?
It's all the rage in fashion circles?
Not quite. If you fit it just right, their body never gets used to the feeling of wearing it. It cuts in just enough when they swallow or turn their head to remind them who they belong to. And it's that constant reminder that keeps them docile.
In that case, maybe you'd better save the collar you were gonna give me.
Oh? For whom?
For a friend of mine you're about to meet. My friend isn't very docile.
And who is this friend of yours?
You know all the rules the NCR instituted to protect enemy prisoners of war?
Of course.
My friend doesn't. Oh, and Silus? If you resist at all, I'll personally blow your brains out. Come on in. He's all yours. I'll be back in a bit to see how you're getting along. And I'll need you to surrender your weapons before you go in. You can pick them up from the locker on your way out.
What an ugly little worm you are. What pile of excrement did the lieutenant pluck you from, worm? You're nothing. You're some inept mercenary the NCR is paying to supplement its own incompetent soldiers. No, listen. Caesar's secrets are safe with me. I stayed alive because Caesar would have wanted it. I'm useless to him dead. You must have some reason to be in your line of work. Tell me, what did the Legion do to you? Did we enslave your children? Slaughter your family before your eyes to teach you a lesson? Whatever it was, I hope I was there to give the order. Foot soldiers of the Legion are trained not to have to think for themselves, to have conflict removed from their minds. They kill themselves to evade capture because they are not trusted to make such a decision rationally in the heat of battle. But I'm no foot soldier. I knew I could escape captivity on my own without revealing the tiniest iota of information to my captors. I'll show you gutless, you sniveling bastard. I'll spill your guts all over this room.
Watch out! Had
Whoa,
enough?
Easy. Easy there. You're supposed to rough him up a little, not kill him. Why don't you step outside a minute? Let off some steam. Nice job. I think my friend doesn't like you, Sea-Loose. I don't know how much longer I can keep her under control.
You think this'll make me talk? A beating? This is the best you can do?
Not just any beating, Sea-Loose. A savage beating. A beating that you'll be reminded of every time you feel pain from now on. When my friend's done with you, you won't have any of your teeth left. You'll be drinking your food through a straw. Your ribs will never heal properly, and it will hurt every time you breathe. It'll be like your collars, Sea-Loose. Impossible to forget.
Go to hell.
Huh. Not the sort of wit I've come to expect from you, Sea-Loose.
You're getting nothing from me.
I'm getting entertainment. That's something. So what's it gonna be? Are you gonna spill your guts to me? Or am I gonna let my friend the maniac back in here for some playtime? Sea-Loose. Silent treatment, huh? Have it your way. Come on back in. I think he misses you. Oh,
You hit like a bedridden old woman. It'll take more than that to get me to talk, worm. Enough, this is pointless. I'm dead to the Legion either way, I'll tell you what I know. But you should know that Caesar has always kept his own counsel. He never reveals anything that would make him vulnerable. My knowledge will not prevent the inevitable. This camp will be ash within months. Maybe weeks. Beat me all you like, but it won't make my information any more useful. You can take what I have or leave it. Something is wrong with Caesar. Something he is attempting to hide from his men. But it was obvious before we set out on this last mission. For 3 days we awaited his order to dispatch us. 3 days. But he hid in his tent, refusing to give orders, complaining of headaches. He looks different now than he used to. His face is sunken, sickly. But any questioning of his health enrages him. There is one other thing that may interest you. I know that Caesar has planted a spy here. Every night, details of NCR troop movements are broadcast from a radio on this base to Caesar's camp. The spy has been here a long time, since before the entire conflict began. He's an officer. If I knew who he was, I would tell you. If I escape and he's alive to report it, the Legion would hunt me down. But like I said, none of this information will change the outcome for you. No force can hold back the tide of the Legion.
Yeah! Haven't you done enough? Yep, see you around.
I wish I had first recon guy looking after me.
Pisses me off. The Legion slaver seems to operate on NCR turf like that. If we hadn't caught up to them, we'd probably have a clear path to the river. No one stopped them. There should be patrols, checkpoints. We got radio or stretch. Now we're on territory insecure. I was in a lot of places with first recon. I don't really remember. Yeah.
Hey, have you been able to bug Mr. House's network yet? Okay, no rush, but the sooner the followers can learn about Mr. House's technology, the better. I wish I had a first recon guy looking after me.
Nice to meet you. I'm Curtis. Smart man. I could use somebody who can operate under the radar around here. Whoever our mole is, he's been slippery. Whenever one of the MPs gets too close, he changes his habits. Our last lead went cold weeks ago. You want my advice? Start by talking to people with a lot of eyes in the field. People like Lieutenant Boyd, or Sergeant Contreras, maybe. Careful with Contreras, though. He's not above suspicion himself. Keep me apprised of any leads you get. This guy's gotten a lot of my men killed. I'm just itching to return the favor. Well, I'll leave that to you. But I would recommend Lieutenant Boyd and Sergeant Contreras. Officially, I'm in charge of Bravo Company. But since General Oliver has Bravo and most of our forces here garrisoned, I'm free to do other things. So I work with Colonel Shu on logistics, patrols, supply lines, reinforcements, that sort of thing. Lately, it's been less about that, and more about figuring out how that information is getting leaked to raiders. It's a big base with a lot of unhappy soldiers. They get stir-crazy. Hard to separate the malcontents from the actual culprit. Later.
Haven't you done enough? Now, what kind of MP would I be if I didn't notice anything suspicious? I've had soldiers go AWOL, break-ins, thefts, you name it. Well, there's Anders. He's a ranger. That one's not suspicious so much as worrisome. He left on a dangerous assignment. Colonel Shu sent him out. Now I think he feels guilty not having any way to check up on him. I don't know him very well myself. I seem to remember that he was the man to call on if you needed someone to get in and get out quietly. Colonel Shu would really be the person to talk to. Maybe break-in isn't the right word. We didn't find signs of forced entry, but I've had reports of someone sneaking into the control tower at night. It's probably just a meeting spot for a steamy military base love affair. Kids today. But it bothers me that they didn't break in. It means they have an access code. Most soldiers around the base don't have that. Sure, if you want to investigate. It's not like there's anything to steal up there, just a bunch of old communications equipment. If you can find out any more, I'd be interested to hear it. There's something about this I really don't like. And if I weren't tied up here, I'd be staking it out personally. Not the kind of things you like to see go missing. No witnesses yet. I've got my money on Sergeant Contreras, who's supposed to be in charge of distribution, the little weasel. But he's too slick to let anyone catch him doing it. We've searched his possessions a dozen times. Nothing. Good. The more guns you can recover, the more I'll be able to use to shoot Contreras for being inept. Yep. See you around.
Lupa, this is Frumentarius Picus. Over.
Go ahead, Picus.
Afternoon patrol enters Fiend territory at 1300. Have them mind that stretch.
10-4, Picus. Fiends will be alerted.
Roger, Lupa.
What's the status of your primary mission, Picus?
Charges are set. Detonation will occur as the train leaves the station. Over.
How long?
Couple of minutes. Over.
10-4. Keep...
What are you doing here? You don't have clearance. I don't know what you mean.
Keep us updated.
Hey! Hate this!
Something... Yes? What is it? No? What happened? Curtis? He's been in the NCR long before our conflict with the Legion. There's just no way. I hope you're mistaken, but somehow I don't think so. It'd explain a lot. This is much worse than anyone expected. There could be others, too. You've done everything that was asked of you. You have my personal thanks for this. And I'll make sure you receive the credit you deserve. Bye.
Hey, you came back. Must be doing something right.
What's going on, man? Oh, it was great. I wouldn't trade it. Something about that lifestyle, the discipline, seeing new places, making people safe. What's not to like? Well, I just felt like it was time, you know? Wanted to have a home. Plus, I was up at Camp Golf when Bitter Springs went down. I faked like I was sick to get out of going because I knew some of the people there. But when everybody came back, nobody would tell me what happened, and people would call us murderers sometimes when we showed up to secure towns. I still don't know exactly. Just that a lot of people died who didn't want to be a part of the fighting at all. I don't blame anybody for it. There's so much chaos when you're fighting. You're lucky not to shoot your own guys. But it did take something out of it for me. Just wasn't the same. So when it came time to re-enlist, I just took my papers and walked. Yeah, see ya.
What is it? He was a good spotter. Yeah, we were. When Carla went missing, he was the first person I told. He tried to hide it, but I could tell right away. He was glad. Sure. First NCR Recon. It's a sniper battalion. Sees a lot of action. They moved us around a lot. I was stationed at Camp Golf for a while. Last I heard, They're at Camp McCarran. They pick you out if you do well at the firing range. Pays a little better, so I said okay. Yeah, you can tell by the patch. Bear skull with crossed rifles behind it. Slogan underneath. The last thing you never see. Pretty accurate. And so are we. It was on the front line for a while. Only resort in New Vegas no one wanted to get sent to. Doesn't have that kind of importance anymore, though. They pulled most of the troops out of there after we took the Hoover Dam. All right. I don't see what this helps. She's dead. All right. I tracked her down. Southeast, near the river. They were selling her. Saw it through my scope. Whole place swarming with Legion, hundreds of them, bidding for things no man has a right to. I just had my rifle with me. Just me against all of them. So I took the shot. Yeah. What they do to women, that's worse than death. There was no choice in what I did. It was more like being forced to watch something you can't stop. All this was only ever going to play out one way. It still is. I don't have any say. All I can do is wait for it to be done with me. It was going to be something. If I'd never met Carla, it would have been something else. I should have never gotten close to her. I've got bad things coming to me. You better keep your distance, too. Because fair is fair. Better that you don't. We won. Look, we've done some traveling together, but we're not exactly comrades in arms. I'm not ready to swap war stories. I don't know. Couldn't hurt. Yeah.